I will walk by faith even when I cannot see. Well, because this broken road prepares your will for me. Those are words from Walk by Faith by Jeremy Camp. I loved that song when it first came out. I love it still today because, in the very simple words that he writes, it's so powerful, it's so strong, it means so much. So, the broken road. I feel like we're all going to go through a broken road if we haven't already. Everyone is going to walk a broken road, whether that is potholes, whether it's a fork in the road, whether it's a roadblock, or all of us are going to experience something. None of us are going to have a smooth paved road through life. And so, as I was thinking about this week and how to open up, and gosh, I'm so darn excited about this full week, I just wanted to start by reminding everyone that faith, which the word faith just means to have like absolute trust in something or someone, to hold fast to our faith is truly what's going to get us through the good, the bad, the ugly, the trials and tribulations of life. And it's in those broken road moments that we're going to have to hold fast to our faith. We're going to have to look to God to say, okay, what next? Because as Jeremy Camp writes, because this broken road prepares your will for me. We all know, we've all heard it, that his plan is better than mine. And sometimes his plan means that he's going to drag you through some dirt first, right? A lot of times it's because we as humans in the flesh, we need that in order to grow, learn, to be humbled, to be reminded. And so it's hard sometimes to thank God for the broken roads, but usually when you get past that, then, hindsight's 2020, you begin to see that, oh, all of those pieces are actually starting to lay out for a reason. So welcome, my friends. Good morning. Good morning. Say hey to me in the chat. I would love to say hey to you back, especially if you're catching the replay. There's a lot of new eyeballs around here. And so hello, I am Shauna Woods, the owner over here at Woodsmore. And this week we are going to be talking all about our Bring Jesus Back t-shirt subscription. I'm going to talk a little bit about this morning. I'm going to give you a rundown of all the things that we've got planned for the week. And stick around because I'm going to show you a little sneak peek of the interview that I'm going to have right here, YouTube or on Facebook. I'm going to show you the sweet friend that I'm going to interview at 10 a.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. Be here, set your alarm, or of course, catch the replay. My gosh, does she have a story? Okay. So what are we going to do this week? I've got 2 interviews lined up that are great. They're amazing. One on today at 10 a.m. and another one on Wednesday. I will be sharing my testimony a little bit about how my faith was challenged and kind of how I grew through that. I thought it'd be fun to give you some styling tips of things that you can do with graphic tees because it is so much more than just, a nighttime t-shirt or one that you just dress down to go out for the weekend. We're going to walk down memory lane just a little bit and show you some of the designs that we've had in the past. We launched this over a year ago, so we've got, I don't even know, 17, 18 shirts now for me to show you. I will do the full March reveal on Thursday. So we'll actually unbag it together so you have an idea of like what really do you get in your monthly t-shirt bag. I will do a sticky note live. And so all of the subscribers, new and old, I'm going to write on a fun little sticky note and post them right behind me. So we hope that by the end of the week, your name is on a sticky note to join us with all the disciple sisters that love to wear their faith and spread the good news. And then at some point, I will take you behind the scenes. Right here at Woodsmore, we screen print most everything. And so I thought it'd be fun to take you behind the scenes and actually screen print this month's design with you. So we'll do that this week as well. So if you are brand new, this is actually, let me wet my whistle. This is actually what the bag looks like. I designed this logo. You've probably seen this before, but it's the Bring Jesus Back logo. So you see that on every bag that you get. I mean, just imagine this on your doorstep every month as a little gift to yourself. You're treating yourself, but it's also filling your soul, filling your spirit, helping you stay grounded in your faith. That is the mission around here. So let's talk quickly about this logo, because, again, many of you have probably seen it before. We called it the Bring Jesus Back t-shirt subscription, but this means he came. So he came as baby Jesus, as you know, that's Christmas. He died on the cross, that's Easter. That's actually what our March design is going to be about, because we always try to give you the, like, if there's a Christian or faith-based holiday or whatever coming up, we give it to you the month before. So he came, he died, he was buried. So we know that the tomb represents right after Easter, the 3 days, he was buried in the tomb. He rose. And then this arrow here is what Bring Jesus Back talks about the most. And I'll kind of get a little bit into that when I talk about my testimony and my story. But to think that he could come back any moment is kind of human mind blowing. Like, it's kind of hard to fathom, because it just seems out of this world. You know, it seems like that wouldn't actually happen. But I feel like there's a lot of things recently, like think back to 2020. Did you ever think that one little pandemic or a virus would close down, shut down the entire world? Probably not. There's some things that the human brain just can't necessarily fathom. And Jesus coming back is kind of one of those that it's like, what would it look like? What is he going to do? What's he going to look like? Is he really going to come on a white horse? Like, is he going to really be clothed in a white robe? And is there going to be trumpet sounding? Like, are people actually just going to float up, kind of like the rapture, you know? Like, what is it going to look like? We don't really know. He actually says in Matthew 24, just to keep watch. Like, no one knows the day or time. And so this is kind of what we focus on, is him coming back. And if it were today, if it were right now, what would he catch you doing? What would he catch you watching? What would he catch you talking about? It's always kind of something to think about. You know, how am I living my life of full faith that is honoring to him, that it almost looks like I'm filled with Jesus and it kind of, you know, spreads out to others? Or is he going to catch me, I don't know, maybe in greed, or maybe idolizing somebody or something that really doesn't matter on this side of heaven, you know? And so that's kind of why we called it Bring Jesus Back, is just to bring him back into our workplaces, into what we wear, bring him back into our schools, bring him back into our conversations. And one way, because we screen print, and that's just kind of what we do here at Woodsmore, is faith-based apparel, we decided to do the t-shirt subscription to just kind of give one thing, one way to wear your faith, to start a conversation, to you know, feel empowered. Maybe, like, I don't know how to strike a conversation with someone that maybe I want to kind of have a faith-based conversation with, and maybe they see your shirt and they say something about it, and then that opens the conversation, right? Hey, Miss Jennifer, thank you for saying hi to me. He's going to catch me doing laundry because it's never ending. Oh, I love it. I mean, you know, that's okay. If he's going to catch you doing something that's not simple, it's fine. Like, he knows a girl got to do what a girl got to do, you know? But seriously, you're right, Jennifer. But there are some, gosh, you just get caught up in sin sometimes, and you start to go down a rabbit hole that you just kind of feel like there's no way to get out of this, you know? There's lots of testimonies and people out there that talk about whether it's drug addiction or alcoholism or what rhymes with corn. And there's just so many things that sin, the devil kind of gets a stronghold on us. And then it just feels so hard to turn life back around, right? So this is what the bag looks like. And this is what we are focused on, is when he comes back. And what if we did nothing today? What if we just lived our lives? I'm a believer. You know, I feel like my name is in the good book of life. Like, when I get up there, he's going to say, thank you, good and faithful servant. You may enter my gates. I might feel that way. So good, right? Like, check, I'm good. But that's not necessarily my purpose. Like, he also put us here on earth to then talk to others. Like, if I have been filled with the Spirit, and if I believe, and I have so many testimonies and stories and things to tell, then why am I not? Well, a lot of times it's because we don't feel adequate. Like, I need a preacher. I don't know scripture. I don't have scripture memorized. And so we just feel like, just go to church, or here's this podcast maybe to listen to, or you kind of give them something maybe. But the last thing we want oftentimes is for someone to say, why do you believe in a fictional character? I've heard that before. What have you heard? I don't have a faith because I cannot imagine a God that's so loving that would give people cancer and make people die so young and allow kids to go through terrible things. Like, I can't worship a God like that. I've heard that too. And it's hard. It's a hard conversation to have. And sometimes you may not be equipped for it, and that's okay. You can ask questions. Like, I agree, it's hard to understand here on earth and with our human brains, like how all of this could possibly happen. And then just start to ask them questions, but also think about this over here. Like, do you really think that all of us are just here from random dust and atoms, and the human body ourselves just kind of naturally over time evolved into what we are? And you just kind of start a conversation. We'll talk a little bit more this week about what it truly means, like to be a disciple and to share your faith and kind of have an open conversation. That's part of my testimony. But at the end of the day, when we get to those gates, what if he said, thank you, good and faithful servant, you can come in. But before you do, I want just to show you the people still on earth. And he opens a curtain and he shows that teacher, that friend, that coworker, that relative, them all. You see their faces. And he says to you, you knew that they weren't believers. Or you had a moment in time. I set you up to share the good news with them. You didn't say anything. Gosh, that would be so hard. And so when I think about that, then I'm like, gosh, well, I don't want that to happen. Who can I talk about today? And we don't have to over spiritualize everything, right? Like, we're not standing on the corner with a sign like the pizza places do that say, follow Jesus. And we're not saying that we're Jesus freaks. What we are saying is that we have a purpose here on earth in the smallest of ways, to walk a little bit more like him, talk a little bit more like him, make it cool again, because that's why people go to church. That's why people start to read the Bible. That's why people kind of start thinking a little bit more about the faith and dabbling into it a little bit, because they see the people around us that seemingly are more happy, maybe possibly have a better life, or just have a deep faith, and they can get through those broken roads that I talked about at the beginning of the live because they have a strong hold on their faith. And that's when they start to wonder, maybe there's more to this life than just living and dying. Like, I feel like I want a little bit more than to just be buried 6 feet under after this life. So think about that as we go into this week. You guys, hey, Miss Pam, I feel like my computer's about to die. It's because as humans, we see life through our current circumstances instead of eternal point of view. Absolutely, Pam, 100%. It's really hard to see what's going on behind the scenes. Pam, you're kind of a seamstress sewer. You know how behind, like when you look at something that's embroidered, it looks beautiful. And when you look on the back side, it looks like a disastrous mess, right? What we see oftentimes is that disastrous mess of thread on the back side of something that's embroidered. And what God sees and what God's trying to paint for us or embroider for us or create for us is that beautiful image on the front. And that's what we have to hold tight to, right? Okay, before I leave you this morning, 10 a.m., mark your calendars. I promise you are not going to want to miss this. Miss Kim has a story to tell. It's how it started versus how it's going. And I'm telling you, there is everything from weight loss to brain surgery to cancer to a crazy vehicle wreck and everything in between. I promise you, you're going to be inspired, and all you're going to be able to say is, but God. Like that could not have all happened naturally. So please join me here at 10 a.m. Comment the word sister at any time. You can get information about our t-shirt subscription. We would love to welcome you in this week. And we'll talk more about it throughout the week. But of course, ask questions throughout the entire week if you are curious about anything. And we can't wait to see you inside the group. Okay. We'll see you very soon. Thanks for joining this morning, 10 a.m. and then all the rest of the week. Okay. God bless as always, guys.